Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth. And we are still on Lupin's story. Everybody has shown up on the Nautilus to rescue Cardia from the clutches of her brother and father, but they may be too late because her horologium has been activated and we don't know any way to stop it at this point. So, Cardia is probably going to try to break it off here and tell them to escape without her. But of course we know that's not going to happen, right? So let's see what actually goes on. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. His look is questioning and silent, and I open my mouth to speak. There's something I want to tell you. I know there isn't much time, and I fall quiet for a while, dreading having to say these words. The Nautilus shakes yet again. There's probably still an intense battle raging outside. Many people are trying to bring down the Nautilus, and my friends are trying to save me. They're all fighting a desperate battle against this flying fortress. Thank you for coming to save me. When I finally do speak, the words that come out are painfully plain. I was so happy to see you again. It moved me to tears. But I look straight into his eyes, and though my voice almost gives way, I'm able to speak with strength. I can't come with you. I feel the heat of the horologium. This sinister heat will soon change me into a force that will destroy the world.
What are you talking about?
I have to say I can't tell him that reason. Although they're both really kind of the same thing, but oh well. I can't tell you why. I'm sorry.
That's not good enough. You need to at least give me a reason.
He looks right at me.
Cardia, tell me. What's on your mind?
I can't. There's no way that I can get away with not telling him the truth. The horologium's poison. It's going to become much, much stronger. Incomparably stronger than it is now. Lupin simply listens in silence as I desperately try to explain. I struggle to put together the words, and if I say nothing now, then I'll never be able to say it. It would become too strong. I have to stop speaking to pause mid-sentence. It's not just because of the dizziness or pain I'm feeling. It's because part of me still wishes that I didn't have to say it. It would become so strong that it would kill everything near me. I want to stop talking and just run off with Lupin. This strong longing almost makes me shut my mouth, but I fight that feeling and continue. And when I say everything near me, I don't just mean a few meters around me. It means everyone fighting the Nautilus and everyone waiting back in London. I'm afraid to look in his eyes and look down to avoid finding out what he might be thinking right now. It would involve all of them. My voice begins to waver slightly. I wanted him to come to my rescue. I wanted him to steal me away from my life, just like when we first met, so the two of us could run off somewhere together. But that's exactly why. Thank you for coming for me. Not just this time. Thank you for everything. Thank you for staying by my side through everything. I don't want to lose the person I love because of me, so I selfishly tried to distance myself. I was able to become a human thanks to you. I try my best to put on a smile, to say these parting words. Goodbye, my thief. All I get in response is a prolonged silence. I take one step back, then another, slowly walking away to the distant sound of battle. Then, in the moment when I've completely turned my back on him, Lupin firmly pulls me close, as if to negate everything I'm trying to do.
What do you think you're doing? Making all these decisions on your own. Goodbye? Don't make me laugh. If the horologium's going to go out of control, then I have to do something about it, even if it costs me my life. I told you, my feelings for you are real. So what if there's poison? Or you'll become a monster. It doesn't mean a thing. I love you.
He holds me even tighter now.
And it's only human nature to risk your life for the woman you love.
And then he quietly exhales, a long silent breath.
Instead of giving everything up on your own, try to trust me more, you big doofus.
There is a soft thump as Lupin lightly bumps me on the top of my head with his fist, with a smile as if he might start crying at any moment. But Lupin,
Oh, I don't want to hear it. Just let me handle it. Look carefully. Think carefully. Who do you think is standing before you?
It's... Lupin looks me in the face, locking his eyes with mine, then makes a grand gesture and takes a step away. Then he strikes a heroic pose.
I am the Arsene Lupin, the magnificent gentleman thief, renowned around the entire world.
He smiles at me.
So, believe me, I'm going to steal you away no matter what.
Lupin. There is a sudden booming sound. Before I can comprehend what it is, Lupin collapses on the spot. What? A red puddle begins to spread beneath him. Lupin! Lupin! I try to rush to his side, but Twilight soldiers appear out of hiding and grab my arms. Let go of me! Lupin! Lupin! The soldiers are strong, and no matter how much I struggle, I cannot break free.
I found you, sister. He's back to being Finis again.
I look around to find the origin of the strange voice. And I see Finis standing there, tossing aside a smoking gun.
You really are useless. Father finally accomplished a complete awakening. We can't have his fuel source run off before its job is done. Thanks to you, Father must rest some time again.
Finis, tell your Twilight underlings to back off. I need to help Lupin.
Why? There's no point. Isn't he already dead?
That's not...
Ah, fine. I'll make sure you never have to worry about him again.
Finis picks the gun up off the floor and points it at Lupin. What? What are you doing? Stop it, Finis! I beg him, screaming, but to no avail as Finis takes a glance at me. Then I hear another gunshot. The sound echoes over and over, and I shock even myself with the intensity of my own scream.
See? You don't have to worry anymore.
No! Lupin! Lupin! There's so much blood. I feel the strength leave my body as I look down at the horrible sight. Regret whirls in my mind. If only I'd been able to say goodbye sooner. If only I'd gone off on my own sooner. Lupin wouldn't have had to die. If only I hadn't wanted to have a life with him.
Let's go, sister.
The half-broken Finis invites me to come along. I no longer have the strength to resist. Just as Lupin is shot right before Cardia's eyes, a different story is coming to its conclusion in another part of the Nautilus.
We finally found it. You can count on me, the genius engineer. I found our target in a flash.
They stand in the Nautilus's central engine room. This place, located in the center of the ship, is what they've been looking for. Impy's objective is to take back the gravity alleviator. Victor's is to destroy the Zicterium weapon. They're up against Nemo, the keeper of these objects, as well as 10 Twilight soldiers. The two are currently in the middle of a confrontation with them.
How convenient that the two men most closely linked to me would end up together in the same place. Your brains and your skill. What do you say to putting those things to good use right here with me? The future I envision is marvelous. Master Isaac will return, the world will be revolutionized, and everything will change. Why don't we show this pathetic world the brilliance of science together?
While Nemo speaks animatedly, Victor responds coolly.
Science isn't for creating tragedy. I'm sorry, but I can't cooperate with you. If you intend on using Zicterium again, I'll have to force you to stop. Yeah, no thanks for me too. My device isn't for flying some worthless weapon like this. It's meant to propel hopes and dreams. It's for reaching the moon.
Everyone has their own past, their own reasons. Promises exchanged with someone. Vows made to themselves. And although their objectives may be different, Victor and Ippy stand before their enemy, both with unwavering purpose.
You're turning me down? Rejecting me? Unfortunate, most unfortunate. Magnificence of science, and the foolishness of this world. I thought I could share this sentiment with you.
As Nemo shouts in frustration, more Twilight soldiers rush in. Victor and Ippy stand ready to fight.
Let's do this, Impy. We can't lose this battle no matter what. You got it! Let's show them what happens when you cross the two greatest minds in the world!
They start running, moving perfectly in synchronization. Away from his comrades, Saint Germain is standing alone on the outer hull of the Nautilus. He is filled with certainty. He is sure that in this great battle, his role is quite different from those of his teammates. For Saint Germain's enemies are not the likes of Finis, Nemo, or even Isaac. His enemies are, in a way, even more difficult to deal with than Isaac. They are the guides of destiny, the controllers of history, idea.
She's here.
He notices something high above him, cutting its way through the night sky. He darts out of the way as a strangely shaped sword smashes through the spot where he had been standing a moment before. This is no time for you to be fighting amongst yourselves. Then, a knight in gleaming armor appears as if melting out of the darkness. It is the beauty Guinevere, who in the past led the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur to destruction. The strongest apostle in all of Idea stands before him, ready to stop him with all her might.
You can claim outwardly that you will save her, then destroy everything in the chaos of the battle. This has the stink of omnibus all over it.
Yes, but I must defeat you before that can happen. If we allow you to roam free, you'll try to get in our way, won't you? He nods at her quiet question.
You know me too well.
Do you intend to repeat the mistake you made with the Black Plague? Her accusation brings back memories of that hell in his mind, the hell he himself had created. But
I don't believe that to be reason enough to give myself up. You one-sidedly decide that something is a mistake, then excise it from the world. I don't believe that your decisions are absolute.
Is that the conclusion you've arrived at? I envy you. I still haven't been able to figure it out. Guinevere begins running at Saint Germain, clearly indicating that the discussion is over. Saint Germain swings his own blade wide to block her attack. The two collide. Van Helsing stares at the person in front of him, keenly aware of the pain in his arm as he breathes shallowly. The figure leaning against the wall has a satisfied smile, despite the deep wound he has sustained. Is it Alistair? Everybody's personal enemy is here?
I'm impressed. I'd intended to distract you with multiple soldiers and strike at you while they had your attention, but I underestimated you. You and the skills that I developed in you.
Van Helsing narrows his eyes slightly. He is still stricken by disbelief. Is he still able to use the human weapon program against Van Helsing?
Is it really true? What? Everything you just said. Yes, of course. And you've been lying to me this entire time. That it was you who took my family hostage, and not Finis. That's correct.
The gun in his hand trembles. He resists with great difficulty in giving in to his anger and pulling the trigger.
Why? Why did you have to go so far? What do you want from me? I suppose I want someone who understands me when it all comes down to it. Someone who understands you. Nobody has ever understood me. I know that I am evil, and no one in this world will ever understand how I feel. I was lonely, Abraham. I wanted a companion. That's insane. You tricked me just for that. And you made me kill the vampires? For something as petty as that? You killed my family!
Van Helsing's shout echoes through the room. As the ensuing silence sets in, Alistair smiles.
Just kill me, Abraham. Kill a man with no will to fight, not out of self-defense, but out of sheer hatred.
Alistair looks at Van Helsing, his eyes filled with quiet hope.
When your hands are tainted with blood, I'm sure you will finally understand. You'll know how I felt in my loneliness and my sadness.
Van Helsing stares at Alistair. His fingers tense on the trigger of his gun. Finally, he lowers his weapon.
Are you going to kill me? Leave. Don't you hate me? I could never return to those who trust me if I dirty my hands with your blood. That's all.
Alistair slowly shuts his eyes, then he's a long sigh before he speaks again.
I'm disappointed, Van Helsing. I was so close. Now I'm all alone again.
Alistair begins walking away, dragging his wounded body. Oh, don't stop paying attention to him yet. He turns his back on Van Helsing, leaving himself completely unprotected, as if begging to be shot in the back. Was the decision he made correct? Was he right to choose those close to him now instead of revenge? Van Helsing has no way of knowing the answers to his questions. As the sounds of explosions echo in the distance, a dull numbness takes over his broken limbs. All this takes place within the enormous flying fortress, the Nautilus. Alistair drags himself down the shuddering hallway.
You really got me there.
The battle earlier. There's no mistake in what he's feeling. Broken bones, wounds inflicted in the confrontation. More explosions go off in the distance. The British forces are continuing their attacks, despite the great disparity in the power between them and the Nautilus. Perhaps the Queen's fleet is being protected by some mysterious power. Their persistence gets even a realist like Alistair to consider irrational options.
I wonder what Isaac intends to do about this situation.
The genius scientist Isaac Beckford, the man who single-handedly turned Britain into the world's greatest military nation. Alistair decided to work for him from the first time he'd heard the man's ideals. Isaac plans to spread everlasting hatred throughout the world. It's a great evil that not even the worst villains in history were able to pull off. To think that he would be able to witness this feat coming to fruition within his own lifetime.
Oh, truly brilliant.
That's why he cannot let anything stand in the way of his triumph. He must eliminate anyone who tries to stand in Isaac's way.
Once the intruders have been eliminated, I would love to see it. A beautiful world, filled with endless terror and chaos.
I believe that evil and justice are two sides of the same coin. Even as the battle rages outside, a sudden voice interrupts Alistair's reverie. The definitions of evil and good change greatly depending on the time and place. It goes without saying that what is seen as justice on one side may very well be evil to another. However, the voice stops for a moment. Alistair quietly raises his head and turns his gaze on the figure walking towards him. However, in this world, there are those who could be considered absolute evil, equally evil in the eyes of every society. That's what you are, Jimmy Alistair. Or perhaps I should refer to you by the name that's more familiar to me. James Moriarty.
I didn't think I'd run into a familiar face in a place like this.
Alistair looks at the man standing there with surprise. Then he greets him quietly, like welcoming an old familiar friend.
I wonder how long it's been since I saw you last. Quite a while, Detective. It's been so long that I'd assumed you died.
I couldn't die without capturing my main suspect. That's how detectives are. Alistair's lips twist into a smile.
So, you followed me up into the sky all this way just to come after me, Detective Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I actually called him Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes and James Moriarty. Why did he bother calling himself Sherlock Holmes then, if it wasn't for copyright reasons for this game? The two arch rivals exchange warm greetings and share a smile. It's true, they are old acquaintances. After all, one of them is the greatest detective of all time, and the other history's greatest criminal. The brutal crimes that have been occurring within London as of late. I sense that you are behind them all, and have been tracking your footsteps.
And you have changed your name. Such dedication.
The Holmes name draws unnecessary attention. Why, you didn't bother to change it very much. There were some minor inconveniences, but I've been able to track you down.
You weren't exactly fooling anyone with your pathetic attempt at an anagram.
That's what I said. I agree with you, Alistair.
Sherlock Holmes. That name lacks creativity, especially for you.
Look who's talking, James A. Alistair. Holmes smiles faintly. I don't care if you call yourself Alistair or Moriarty. The only thing that matters is that you've been involved in most of the incidents that occurred in London. You controlled several followers like your own limbs and crushed your targets one by one. You are most definitely the Napoleon of crime. I'm going to make you face justice right here. Holmes quietly glares at Moriarty, who is badly injured.
Justice, eh? Do you intend to capture me, or...
I won't go easy on you, as your pupil did. I have authorization from the government to kill you, based on justice as defined by the laws of our nation. Holmes' eyes are bright and clear as he looks over his old nemesis. However, Moriarty simply shrugs and shakes his head. What's so funny, Moriarty?
It's just... I was thinking of how terribly disappointed you look.
I'm about to put an end to a long-time enemy. I do feel a slight sense of sorrow. And working on your case was always something of a great challenge for me. Without you, London will likely be less interesting. Less interesting. Moriarty slowly savors these words. The closest Holmes would ever come to admitting that he would miss his enemy's crimes. Then, unable to resist any longer, A smile carves its way into his deeply wrinkled face.
I see. So that's what it is.
What are you talking about?
Well, I thought that I was all alone in this world. I thought that nobody would be able to understand the evil that resides within me. But I suppose that wasn't exactly true.
Moriarty thinks to himself.
This man, Holmes, is the same as me.
Chasing after those cases, looking into the dark side of humanity, has caused Holmes' heart to naturally be drawn into darkness. At this realization, Moriarty looks upward, though the sky cannot be seen from here, and smiles in high spirits.
Holmes, it's exactly as you say. Justice and evil, light and dark, two sides of the same coin. Ah, I never thought that you, of all people, who I thought the man farthest from me, would feel so close.
Moriarty smiles from the bottom of his heart.
Very well, Holmes. There's no better choice than you to be the one to close the curtains on the theatrics of my life.
Any other last words?
Being killed by you brings me satisfaction.
I see. Holmes smiles, then slowly bows to Moriarty one last time. Setting aside the heinousness of your crimes, I did enjoy our exchanges more than anything, James.
Thank you. That is the highest compliment I could receive, Sherlock.
Holmes smiles, then draws a gun from his jacket. The gunshot, ringing the death knell of a criminal mastermind's life, echoes through the flying fortress. We're here, sister. Let's begin the final preparations. Lupin. All I can see in my mind is the image of Lupin lying on the floor. I should have given up long ago. I should have thrown my hopes away and killed myself sooner. All the people I care about keep dying when the cause of it all, me, is allowed to go on living. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lupin. That's when it happens. Ugh. Something within my body begins to change. The horologium pulsates violently, making me think that my entire body is shaking. The time has finally come. My body jerks back and forth, being pulled every which way by the ceaseless pulsing. An unspeakable horror begins to eat away at my body. The curtains will finally rise. The completed monster will only be the preface to Code Realize. This, right here, is the dawn of a new creation. Wow. Heat and shock build up in my body, which is beginning to glow. Red, yellow, and blue lights dart around in my fuzzy vision. Father, look! Look at me! I was useful, wasn't I? His voice echoes sadly. That's why you should love me! The poison completely overtakes my body. There is no more pain, and I feel lighter. But there is a new, strange sensation. My blood flows through my body to an eerie pulse. The stone in my chest that demands my attention is now something surpassing the horologium, the Philosopher's Stone. I see in my peripheral vision that my hair is no longer chestnut brown, but a shining silver. It looks pink in this light. Cardia has undergone a dramatic change that can be felt even without laying eyes on her. She is the beginning of the end. She is the key to Code Realize, and an unparalleled monster who will destroy everything. Is this me?
So beautiful.
The voice that quietly speaks to me is not the static-filled voice from earlier. Father, no, Isaac.
Cardia, my beloved daughter, you are finally complete. Right now, you have become worthy of being God's heart. You look nothing like a monster at first glance.
Monster. What he says finally makes me remember. Now that I am a monster, I will spread disaster upon the world. My poison, because of it, everyone is going to die.
There is no need to panic. My body in this room absorbs the power and poison of the horologium. We will require the crew of the Nautilus to continue working for a little while yet.
For a little while, he said. That must mean...
But it won't be for long. Soon, your poison's power will grow exponentially, and not even my body will be able to stop it. You will truly be a monster that spreads death to all.
He has one blue eye and one green eye? No.
Don't worry. We'll end everything before it reaches that point.
Isaac sighs, then looks down at his hand, Finis's hand.
At any rate, this doll has been obnoxious until the very end, always gadding about doing pointless things. I suppose he was a failure after all.
His voice is so plain and casual. How could you say that? I forget what has transpired and feel the anger rising in me. Finis wanted so much for you to love him. He was trying to complete Code Realize for your sake. And you...
So what? I created that fool. It is only natural for a tool to carry out its creator's orders.
You're wrong. Me and Finis, even though we might be fake and artificial, we are both unmistakably alive. We think and we suffer. Our lives may have been different, but we were lives. You would trample all over them just to fulfill your desires. You're much more of a monster than either of us ever were.
Really? How do these annoying personalities develop? I suppose that makes you a failure after all. I'm done with you. I shall extract the Philosopher's Stone from you right now.
In an instant, wires of all different sizes stretch forward from Isaac's main body.
You wouldn't have had to suffer this much if you'd never desired anything from the very beginning. You should have given up on everything while in isolation, not knowing or yearning for anything. Because you are a monster. I'll put an end to all of your suffering for being born in this world. Let's see.
Oh, okay, this is where we choose between... Oh no, okay, it's just a game ending. Okay, let's save it. Let's see what kind of ending we get if we give up. It's not a sure thing that the Philosopher's Stone will lose its power if I die. But either way, I'm going to disappear. Then, I want to die knowing that at least I was able to be of use to everyone. I stuff my hand into my pocket and pull out the small pill. I'm sorry, everyone, but I'm not able to go through with my suicide attempt. Something grabs my hand from the side.
No, you no longer have any freedom.
Another Finistyle appears out of nowhere to grab me. I try to resist, but at the next moment, I'm entangled by an enormous wire web and lifted high into the air.
Now, let us become one, Cardia.
His main body emits a white light. There shouldn't be anything within the orb, and yet its surface is now covered in waves, like it is covered in water. The wires lift me up and bring me close to the globe. The impossible watery surface swallows me.
Well, that's creepy.
What? I hear the sound of treetops rustling in the wind, the sound of birds chirping. Warm sunlight shines down upon me, weaving through the leaves and branches. It's like a scene out of a painting. When I come to, I'm standing in a forest filled with this strange beauty. What am I doing here? I suddenly hear footsteps approaching, crunching through the grass. Oh, shoot. And you know what? I totally didn't notice the time, and I have gone way, way long, I think. I mean, I will be cutting some of this out because I made, I had a couple breaks while I was reading. But anyway, alright, we have to end this video. Sorry, I guess we're not getting the good ending in this episode. Yep, Lupin's route is definitely longer than the other guys. Alright, well, I hope to see you in my future videos. And I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.